We're live. Welcome everyone. We will give our attendees a little bit of time to join us today. You are in the session for University of Missouri, Mizzou. So we'll wait about a minute or so and see as we have some people join us. Welcome, welcome. We're excited that you're here on what's a beautiful day in Chicago. I don't know what the weather is like all over the place, but I know here it's very sunny and lovely. Fantastic. Well, while we wait a couple minutes for people to get started, I just have a few housekeeping announcements. So I just shared my screen with some really basic information. So I want to first of all just welcome everyone here today to the Virtual College Exploration for all Illinois students, sponsored by the Illinois Association for College Admissions Counseling and StriveScan. My name is Mary Alice Berg, and I will be your facilitator for the University of Missouri session this evening. Thank you for joining us. A couple housekeeping items. Number one, you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to the presenters at any time during the session. Everyone in my audience, your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you, so that Q&A box is the only way to communicate with them, basically. And then this is one of many sessions that have been offered over the last few weeks. Today, I believe, is the last day of sessions. So you can head to IACAC.org to check out videos of all the different sessions that happened over the last few weeks. And then this presentation will be recorded and it will be posted in about a week on that same website, IACAC.org. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it back over to my presenters. Good luck, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm Stephanie, one of the regional Chicago representatives in Chicago, and I graduated from Mizzou a few years ago with degrees in music, communication, and Spanish. We also have Maria here with us today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Chukis, and I'm another Chicago-based regional representative for Mizzou. I'm also a Mizzou grad. I studied business administration with a marketing emphasis and got Spanish minors and multicultural studies certificates. And we also have Carly joining us today.
Hi, everyone. I am the third Chicago regional rep here. I am a Mizzou grad as well. I graduated with dual degrees in hospitality management and Spanish and a minor in business. Along with us today, we also have two current students who will kind of give their perspective on things as we go throughout this presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Ryan, to kind of introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and obviously I attend Mizzou. My current major is business administration, not sure of my emphasis yet. And some things that I'm involved in United Ambassadors, LBC, Dream Outside the Box, and PASS, which is a mentorship program.
Hi guys, my name is Brooke Douglas. I'm currently a sophomore at the University of Missouri studying animal sciences, and I'm from Naperville, Illinois, so I attended Neuqua Valley High School, and I'm involved in the Outreach Ambassadors Program as well as Mizzou Club Dance.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We're so happy to have our current students here with us today. We're going to start off by introducing where the University of Missouri is located. So we're in Columbia, Missouri, which is smack dab in the middle of the state, halfway in between St. Louis and Kansas City. And I really wanted to get the current student perspectives of what they love about the city of Columbia. So we're going to start first with Ryan.
So hi again. My favorite thing about Columbia is probably that I feel safe here. Like it feels like a home, well, a second home to me. The food is okay, but they do have some good food spots. And then I also feel like it's kind of, since it's such a small city, like all of the students kind of get to know each other a little better. So you may be able to meet people a little easier.
Yeah, going off of that, I would say some of my favorite parts about Columbia is that it's so close to Mizzou, like we're smack dab in Missouri, so it's really close to campus. It's very easy to access, and there's just so many opportunities to try out new restaurants, shop at local stores, stuff like that, and they always have so many different events so you can be involved in the community.
So campus itself is a registered botanic garden. It is unbelievably beautiful. And like both of our students were saying, campus Across the street is downtown. So if you walk from one far side of campus across into downtown, it's only about a 15-minute walk. So everything's very accessible by walking. You can walk from your dorm into downtown and back. There are tons of live music venues, shops, restaurants, as they mentioned, parks, hiking trails, biking trails, running trails. Also, we are home to lots of festivals. So we're home to one of the country's largest documentary film festivals. We also host several international professional photography competitions in Columbia. And we have big name artists that come through town all the time, both into Columbia and onto campus. We are consistently ranked one of America's best college towns, and we've been ranked a top 25 city to live in overall. The University of Missouri has over 30,000 students from all 50 states and 120 countries, but over 4,000 of those students come from the state of Illinois. So there are a lot of Illinois and a lot of Chicagoland students on our campus. Mizzou is a very unique institution. We are two universities in one. So you are used to hearing University of Michigan, Michigan State, University of Iowa, Iowa State, Indiana Bloomington, and Purdue. Mizzou is actually both of those universities for the state of Missouri. So we are the land grant institution. We have to have a mission for affordability and accessibility, but we are also an AAU institution. That stands for the Association of American Universities. There are 63 of those overall in the North American continent. We include some of our Canadian friendly neighbors in there as well. And we're one of only 34 public universities to be a part of the AAU, meaning a top tier research institution. We're also one of only 6 public universities in the entire country to have a medical school, a vet school, and a law school all on one campus. We are the #1 destination in the state for Missouri valedictorians. For our students coming from all 50 states, more than half graduate in the top 20% of their class. Our average freshman ACT is a 26. So we have very bright students on our campus, but don't worry, that is not what you need in order to be admitted, especially this year. So there are 2 ways to apply to Mizzou, with a test score or test optional. Either way, you can apply via our institutional application or the Common App. There's a $55 application fee, or we accept fee waivers, and you must send us an official high school transcript directly from your school. On that transcript, we're looking for these core classes: 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 3 social studies, 3 science, 2 years of the same foreign language. If you have that fine art credit, great. We will include that in what we call a core GPA, made up of only these core classes, unweighted on a 4.0 scale. But if you do not have that fine art, that's okay. It's not going to count against you. So don't stress over the fine art credit. If you're applying with a test score, it must be sent directly from the testing agency, so either ACT or the College Board. Brand new this year, we will super score, so you are welcome to continue sending us scores from those agencies. The higher your core GPA is, the more flexible we can be with your test score, or the opposite. If you have a 24 or 1160, you're going to be directly admissible as long as you're in good academic standing at your high school. If you're applying with a test score, it takes about 2 weeks to get you a decision once we have all of those pieces: test score, transcript, application, and fee. If you're applying test optional, instead of submitting a test score, you'll submit a resume and a personal statement. An example resume and prompts for the personal statement are on our website. If you're applying via our institutional application, you'll upload all of that right there. If you're applying via the Common App, you'll submit your Common Application, your transcript, and your fee, and then you'll get an email from us with a link to your application status page. On that page, you'll be able to upload your resume and upload your personal statement. You're welcome to use your Common App personal statement, but you have to upload it again to your application status page through us. Great thing about applying test optional is you don't have to wait to test. So if you haven't tested, that's okay. Go ahead and apply now as a test optional student. You can always elect to send us scores later on for consideration for admission and for scholarships. So it's a very flexible way to apply. If you're applying this route, it will take longer to evaluate you, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, because an entire committee is holistically reviewing your resume, your personal statement, your transcript, everything you're submitting. If you have any questions about how to apply, please put them in the chat. But overall, I do recommend applying sooner rather than later. So I always recommend applying by November 15th. This gives you enough time to get everything in order to submit your scholarship application that is due December 1st. Maria is going to go over all of the different scholarship eligibility considerations and deadlines with you here in a little bit, but definitely apply now so you're able to submit that scholarship application and maximize your scholarship opportunities. If you're interested in our Mizzou Honors College, Once you've been admitted to Mizzou, you can then submit an application to apply to the Honors College. So totally separate application. If you're wanting to apply to the Honors College scholarships, that means you need to start your Mizzou application as soon as possible, so you're able to be admitted to Mizzou and apply to the Honors College before the December 1st scholarship deadline for competitive scholarships and departmental scholarships. There will be an essay portion and submitting a resume as well for the Honors College. A lot of great perks, unique small classes, early class registration, but lots and lots of scholarship opportunities as well, including a full ride that Maria will go over. Speaking of, I will pass the presentation over to Maria to cover academics.
Awesome, thanks, Steph. So here at Mizzou, we have over 300 different degree programs and offer over 13 different schools and colleges. It's very popular for students to double major or add on additional interests like minors or certificates. As you heard some of us mention earlier, we did the same thing. If a student were to come to campus and they were not sure of what they wanted to study, we also offer a Discover program. So that gives students the opportunity to explore different majors and career options. Now, this next slide will give you an idea of the majors offered across campus. We are known for having the world's first school of journalism, so that is a very popular major amongst our students. Some other popular majors include things like business, engineering, health professions, education, psychology, biology, and so much more. There's a lot to pick from. But now let's talk about the classroom experience. So there is an 18:1 student to faculty ratio and an average class size of about 30 students. Now, of course, coming in as an incoming freshman, you'll have some classes that are a little bit larger than that, those general education classes that just about all of our students have to take. And we usually call those the intros to ologies. For example, if it's intro to psychology or intro to biology, it might be a larger class. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is when we'll try to offer that, with Monday and Wednesday being the large lecture class where you go in, take notes, and learn more about the subject. And then Friday being broken down into a lab or a discussion course where you are maybe with about 15 or 20 other students reviewing what you learned during the week and often taught by a teaching assistant or someone who's also as familiar with the subject. Now, all of your professors are required to have office hours, so you are more than welcome to go in and introduce yourself or just get to know them, or use that time to dive deeper into subjects that you're learning in the classroom. However, you can also get to know your professors by working alongside them and perhaps doing research with them as well. As Stephanie mentioned earlier, we are a part of the AAU, so the Association of American Universities. And by being a part of that, it means that your professors are participating in 40% research, 40% teaching, and 20% giving back. So it really is that well-rounded education from well-rounded faculty and staff. So as early as your freshman year, you can participate in undergraduate research through that Office of Undergraduate Research. However, that's not the only way to get hands-on experience across our majors. So we actually utilize something called the MISSOUR method. And this is something that allows all of our students to learn by doing across all of our majors. So it doesn't always have to be research, but I will highlight my two students who are with me and see how they use the MISSOUR method in their programs. So Ryan, do you want to start off for me and tell us a little bit about your experience with the MISSOUR method?
Yeah, so since I am a major in business administration and I don't yet know my emphasis, it's between like finance and real estate. And I worked at a bankruptcy firm in Chicago called Geraci Law, and I was able to use what I learned at Mizzou and about businesses and what I learned about how business works and how to coexist in a business. That was very helpful then. And then I also here worked in real estate at like a real estate leasing office. And I was able to do the same thing there too, so yeah.
So within my major of animal sciences, there's a lot of opportunities for research, especially. Our faculty is constantly giving us undergraduate research opportunities to work with pigs, cows, chickens, horses, basically any animal you can think of. Some ways that I specifically have used MISSOUR method is I have used what I've learned so far to shadow some veterinarians back at home, as well as work on a farm, one of the university farms here.
Those are some great examples, and you can see some more in these pictures. For example, education students utilizing it to work with Columbia Public Schools and do student teaching, or in that bottom right photo with our broadcast journalism students who are actually at KOMU. And the University of Missouri is home to the only commercial network affiliate that's run by students. So our students are on air being broadcast to the entire mid-Missouri area and graduating with an NBC News reel and having that experience on their resume. So lots of ways to get those hands-on experiences regardless of what your major is. Now, in terms of student support, you'll see a variety of services offered across campus. The Student Success Center is one of those, where you'll find services like tutoring and writing labs and different ways to help you succeed academically. That same location also houses our Career Center. So if you were ever looking for a part-time job, or if you ever needed help reviewing a resume or creating or drafting a cover letter, that is going to be your go-to spot. So along with that, you also have those social support centers, because while those academics are important, ultimately this is the place that you're calling home, and this is the place where you're going to start building that community. So you'll see a variety of social support centers across campus, ranging from the Black Culture Center to the Women's Center to the LGBTQ Resource Center. And those are places that all students can go to regardless of how they identify, participate in their programming, and get some good educational materials and learn more about how to get involved within all of those communities across campus. I will say that a lot of those outcomes, or a lot of those resources, have led to some pretty great outcomes. And so this past year, we actually had our highest retention rate in the university's history at 90%. And then we also had a 92.7% successful career outcomes rate. So what that means is that those students within just a few months of graduation are finding success and knowing that they are going to either join full-time employment or joining the military or going to grad school upon graduation. So that's a pretty awesome rate. And I think that that stems from how valuable the Mizzou experience is. We're consistently ranked as a best value institution. As Stephanie mentioned earlier, we are part of the AAU, and we are also a land grant institution. So you are getting great academics and great hands-on opportunities, but also at an affordable rate. Now, that being said, I want to use this opportunity to talk about scholarships and cost of attendance. So might be a little bit hard to see on your end, but all of this is available on our admissions website, so admissions.missouri.edu, and it'll break all of this down for you. But just to give you an idea, talking about costs, we are a per credit hour institution. So the averages that you see are based upon 14 credit hours, which is what the incoming freshman takes during their first semester at Mizzou. Now, we do offer some competitive scholarships, which you'll see on the right-hand side of this page. And so those typically require additional materials, whether it be an essay or a letter of recommendation, or maybe even an interview. Earlier, Steph mentioned our full ride scholarship being the Stamps Scholarship Award. And so that is something that provides a full ride to students plus an additional $16,000 for them to use for other ways to enrich themselves academically. But that does require a minimum of a 32 on the ACT, as well as have some additional criteria like a letter of recommendation and interview process and more. Again, all of that is available on our website. Now, moving on with scholarships, you'll also see that we have some different automatic awards. And so automatic awards are things that students are automatically considered for upon applying to the University of Missouri. So there's nothing additional needed for these. After you're screened for admission, you would be screened for these awards as well. They range in value as well as in the requirements. So you'll see that we look at both your test score and your high school GPA. However, Steph mentioned earlier, we do have a test optional route. So students who are applying to Mizzou without a test score will also be reviewed for these awards on a holistic scale. These awards range anywhere from $2,500 to a non-resident tuition waiver, and these are all renewable all 4 years. What a non-resident tuition waiver does is it waives that out-of-state portion of tuition to bring out-of-state students down to the in-state rate. However, another way to receive that is through a process called Missouri residency. So this is a step that a lot of my out-of-state students take in order to become a Missouri resident and pay in-state tuition. And Missouri has one of the easiest residency processes in the country, and it allows students to participate in it while they are a current student. So it consists of these 5 steps. I'll quickly walk you through them. Again, more information is available on our website. But the first step is to live in the state of Missouri for 12 consecutive months. So most students start this process the August that they move in as a freshman and stay through the following August. They're allowed to go home for university holidays such as Thanksgiving or spring break, as well as for 14 days over the summer. The second step is to make $2,000 of taxable income in Missouri. So what that means is you can work part-time during the school year or maybe during the summer. It's up to you to make that decision, but $2,000 has to be made within that year's time frame. You'll also get a driver's license and register to vote in the state of Missouri. And then the last step would be to not be claimed as a dependent on your parents' taxes just for the year that you go through the residency process. They can add you back the year after. So those are the 5 steps to become a Missouri resident. Complete that, turn in the materials to the residency office, and that would make you an in-state student paying in-state tuition, saving about $17,000 on those out-of-state tuition and fees. Now, just to kind of bring it all together, I want to walk us through a quick timeline. Of course, October 1st is when the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, opened up. You want to make sure that you get that out to your schools as soon as possible. December 1st is our competitive scholarship deadline, as well as when our general scholarship application is due through Scholarship Universe. Scholarship Universe is a platform we are using for the first time this year, but it allows students to create a profile for themselves, and then they will receive a database of different Mizzou scholarships, as well as external scholarships that they can apply for. January 1st is our FAFSA priority deadline. So again, you want to make sure we have that FAFSA as soon as possible. And then May 1st is the National Decision Day, but you don't have to wait until then to confirm your enrollment at Mizzou. And then July is when we will accept the ACT or SAT and TIL for those automatic scholarships. So you are more than welcome to continue to send us scores. As Stephanie mentioned earlier, we are super scoring. So if you take the test more than one time, you can continue to update us on what those scores are. So now I'm going to pass it over to Carly, and she's going to talk about the student experience and the campus life.
All right, thanks, Maria. So starting to talk a little bit more then here about the student experience. I want to start with involvement. Mizzou is home to over 600 different clubs and organizations on campus. I bet that if you're involved in something either in your high school or in your community, there's a really good chance you can do it on our campus. I'm going to have Ryan talk a little bit about some of the programs and clubs and organizations that she was involved in to hear about her experience.
So when I first came to Mizzou, I really wasn't involved in anything. And I really saw that as a big mistake because I wasn't able to like meet people and socialize. So now that I am, the first org that I'm in is United Ambassadors, which is kind of like an outreach program for like Black and brown and unrepresented students. And then I'm in the Legion of Black Collegiates, which is in the Gaines Center, so the Black Cultural Center. And then I'm in PASS, which is a mentorship program for like younger girls, like in high school and stuff. And then I'm in Dream Outside the Box, which is where we go to different schools. Well, yeah, just different like after school programs. And we kind of talk to the little kids about like different careers other than like the typical ones, like an athlete or a musician or something. So we kind of talk in depth about more options for them to take. Yeah, I was able to meet a lot of new people and make a lot of new friends and learn so much, not only like about everybody else, but about myself. So that's one thing that I realized when I got involved at Mizzou.
Well, thank you. I think that kind of just goes to show that we really push people to get involved. My both personal and professional recommendation is to get involved in at least 2 things. Maybe one that's a little bit more on that professional side, adhering towards your degree programs, doing some professional development, then something that's completely in fun, that kind of adheres to that hobby side of you. So obviously we have some of those things that Ryan mentioned. We also have tons of other opportunities on campus, things like intramural sports, Quidditch team, fencing team, poetry club, hammock club, kind of anything that you want to do is available on campus. And if you don't see anything that you'd like, if you and 9 other students get together, along with a faculty member, you're actually able to start your own club. Our students also get discounts when it comes to concerts, events, and speakers. We have had anyone from Trippie Redd to Kendrick Lamar, Chris Stapleton, Luke Combs, Imagine Dragons, Jesse McCartney, even Bill Nye the Science Guy has came to our campus twice now. He seemed to be a popular one for our students. So definitely some pretty cool people have kind of come through campus. Next thing I want to mention now is our rec complex. The rec is not only the largest space on the campus, but it is my personal favorite spot of campus. The rec is home to 10 basketball courts, an Olympic-sized swimming pool, a rock climbing wall, a cardio room, a pump room, steam room, sauna. That bottom left-hand corner photo doesn't even begin to do it justice, but that is the lazy river and whirlpool inside of our rec complex. And then outside those doors is an outdoor pool. So definitely lots of things to do to get involved in the rec. And I'll kind of let Brooke explain some of her experiences in the rec here.
Yeah, going off of what Carly said, the rec is probably one of my favorite spots on campus as well. There's just so many different opportunities inside the rec. One of the main things that I'm involved in is with club sports. We have, I'm pretty sure, about 20 or 30 club sports on campus, and I'm involved in the Mizzou Club Dance. So we hold tryouts for that, and we compete throughout the year. But depending on whatever sport you're involved in, you can always try out for that team and then compete and continue to stay active in a multitude of ways.
Thanks, Brooke. Yeah, like she said, there's tons of different club sports on campus through the rec. Another kind of cool thing through the rec is our Tiger X classes. That is the only additional fee associated with the rec. They actually host during the first week of school, free classes for you to test out. But that's things like Zumba and Pilates and yoga and Soul Cycle you can kind of see here in some of these photos. So again, just kind of another great way to get involved and stay fit while you're on campus. The next thing I want to talk about is one of my personal favorite experiences through Mizzou, which is Mizzou Alternative Breaks. It is the largest alternative break program in the United States. We have over 5,000 different opportunities through the campus, going both internationally as well as domestically on different service projects. So my personal favorite project was to Jinotega, Nicaragua, where myself and 20 other Mizzou students got to teach their community English. So just kind of another one of those really cool ways to give back. This year, obviously, travel is looking a little bit differently, but they're still trying to make this happen through service projects in their own communities, whether people are in their actual hometowns or on campus, still trying to give back in any format that they can. If you're still looking for other ways to kind of get out, again, looking a little bit differently at the moment, but hopefully by the time you would have this opportunity, the world's doors will reopen, but is study abroad. Again, another personal favorite experience of mine, I studied abroad for a semester in Alicante, Spain, where I finished my Spanish degree. Students can go for as short as a week during spring break or as long as an entire year to study abroad. I recommend if you have the opportunity to do so, go for it. There are over 400 programs on campus, whether you want to go specifically through your degree programs or just to get general education courses. There are different countries that you can visit, like the screen says, nearly 50 of them. I actually, while I was there, got to visit 10 total. So really getting you kind of culturally aware of what's around you, which was really awesome. Then the fact that there are scholarship opportunities as well. Study abroad can oftentimes add up a little bit. The actual tuition looking a lot similar to Mizzou, but of course you want to experience the world. So getting those scholarship opportunities definitely makes this a lot easier for our students. So we are the birthplace of homecoming. So if you get to celebrate homecoming at your high school, you have Mizzou to thank for that. Mizzou's homecoming, though, is not what you typically see in a high school where it lasts a week there. It lasts the entire month of October on our campus. Homecoming is something a little bit different for everybody. We have anything from a parade to a student-ran food drive, a student-ran blood drive. We have royalty, skits, dances, a step show, and of course the weekend ends in a football game, which is usually kind of that big celebration of our campus. It's kind of one of the most exciting traditions, I would say, but it's not the only tradition that happens on campus. I think that's one of the really awesome things about Mizzou, is its rich traditions, and that kind of stemmed from our homecoming game back in the day. But homecoming is not that football game during homecoming is not our only sport. We have 20 Division I sports teams on our campus. We are in the SEC, which is the Southeastern Conference. That's kind of just another one of those awesome ways to get involved. We have a student ticket combo pass. For just $150, our students have access to all men's basketball and football games. Then every other sport is free with your student ID. I was a huge athlete growing up. By no means good enough to play college sports, but definitely kind of wanted to still be involved in that world. I spent tons of time at softball games, soccer games, baseball games, women's gymnastics and tennis, and tons of different opportunities, not only to support your classmates, but also just to hang out with your friends. Oftentimes you can get free memorabilia, t-shirts and things, and just kind of hang out and support your fellow Tigers. It's truly a really fun time. Next thing I want to talk about here then is our housing process. So all of our freshmen are required to live in what we call university housing. That is one of our 24 res halls or one of 2 off-campus apartments that we partner with. All of our halls have been renovated in the last 10 to 12 years. I say this is important because coming from the Midwest, you all know that one morning you might wake up and it could be 35 degrees and pouring rain. And by the time you get back from class, it is 75 and sunny. So being able to control your own heat and air in your individual rooms is going to be important on days like that. In the last couple of years, we have kind of created a new way to discover your housing process. So if you had friends or family that maybe attended the university 4, 5, or 6 years ago, their process looked a little bit differently. We wanted to make this a little bit easier for you all. We have created what we call a preference form. For you seniors, that preference form will open up on December 1st. You will have up and through February 1st to be considered in that first round of housing. Those assignments will be released on March 1st, which will then be the start of that next pool who will have from March 1st to May 1st, and then hear their decisions on June 1st. That form will ask you a series of questions. That first question being academic, whether or not you want to live in what we call a FIG. That is a freshman interest group where students of the same major live on the same hallway together and are co-enrolled in courses together. That next option then is learning communities. So still students of the same major, but not necessarily in courses together. And that last option just being general learning communities, where students on the same hallway are of all different majors. That next preference then will be roommate, as long as both you and your roommate put each other's names down. That third preference then is style hall. So we have two types of halls on campus. That first one being community style. Community styles make up 70% of our campus. They are cleaned daily, and they are all doubles. So you'll live in a bedroom with one other roommate and then share a bathroom with about 10 other students on your hallway. That other option then is suite styles. Those only make up 30% of their campus. They're only cleaned twice a month, and the majority of them are Jack and Jill style. So you'll have 2 roommates, a bathroom in the center, and then 2 roommates on the other side. Well, there are some options for some single suites or some communal spaces in your actual halls, but those just kind of show you the 2 different options. That fourth preference then will be neighborhood. So where on campus you want to live, and then followed by any accommodations that you may need. When you fill out this form, you'll also sign what we call our housing and dining contract. That will put you into the middle level dining plan called the Tiger Plan Plus, where you'll have access to 29 different dining locations, 3 of them being what we call all you care to eat. This means you swipe your card at the front and you can eat anything that you want, whether that be pizza or ice cream or cookies or burgers and fries or stir fry or whatever that means to you. You can have first, seconds, third, or 10ths. You can eat whatever you'd like there. Then we have 26 other style locations. We have what we call a la carte, so where you can go ahead and get Mexican food, Italian food, Asian cuisine, anything you want there. We have grab and go style if you want to go in and grab a salad or a wrap. And then we have what we call Mizzou markets, similar to a gas station convenience store. There is one open 24 hours if you're ever looking for a late night snack, or maybe just you're not a huge breakfast person and want to go ahead and grab a granola bar or a banana on your way to class. That is an option too. We also have 2 Starbucks locations on campus. I definitely took advantage of those as a student. If you don't like coffee now, I promise you'll like it by the time you graduate. So it's very convenient to have those right on campus too. Last but not least, I want to leave you guys with this timeline. We kind of showed a scholarship timeline earlier on, but this is kind of a timeline for everything. No matter what institution you all are looking at, I think it's super important to stay up to date on these dates and deadlines. As both Stephanie and Maria have mentioned, that's the optimal way to maximize your opportunities. So that kind of first big deadline you'll see for us is December 1st. Like both of them have already said, that is the deadline for our competitive scholarship awards through Scholarship Universe, as well as our departmental awards, all kind of running through that platform. That is also then the start to that housing process, like I just mentioned. That next big date you'll see is January 1st. That is our new FAFSA priority deadline, hoping that this deadline will push those financial aid packages out sooner. Then earlier in the spring semester, you'll see some more information when it comes to housing, our new student forum for orientation, the Honors College, and then that last big deadline you'll see is May 1st. That is the last day to decline admission and still receive a full refund on your housing and enrollment fees. Those are the 2 largest fees that you will pay as a senior in high school. You have up until that day to decline and still get your money back, which is why, again, we really recommend go through this whole process, make sure you're giving yourself that maximum opportunity. And then you can kind of decide by then whether or not Mizzou is for you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Here's all of our contact information in our different areas of Chicago that we cover, but we're happy to help any Illinois student. We also are offering limited in-person campus visits. You can schedule those at visit.missouri.edu and read all about the COVID safety precautions we have in place for those in-person visits. You also have a plethora of different virtual opportunities. So there are virtual walking tours with current student tour guides. There's current student panels you can join virtually. You can sign up for a virtual academic appointment where you actually speak with a different department or school or college. You can request one-on-one meetings with admission reps via visit.missouri.edu. So I definitely encourage you to check out that website and see what you can do to visit Mizzou, whether that's coming to Columbia or visiting virtually. We'll take any questions that you all have now. All right, if there aren't any questions, we'll turn it back over to
Mary Alice. Thank you so much, Mizzou. I enjoyed hearing all about this presentation. I learned so much, just like I'm sure our audience did. It looks like we did have a question come in. Do you want to cover that real quick? Because we have a little bit of time.
Absolutely. So it looks like we have a question about tuition costs. You can check out all of our costs online and how they break down. But for total out-of-state tuition, housing, dining, everything wrapped into one, you're looking at about $41,000. Of course, you can use all of those different scholarship opportunities to make that less, as well as the Missouri residency program to cut $17,000 off that moving forward. So you would have in-state tuition. In-state tuition is only about $13,000 for sophomore year on.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I will show one more screen for our wrap-up slide. And again, thank you to all the people from University of Missouri for joining us today. There we go. So thank you for joining us. When you close this window, attendees, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We appreciate any feedback that you can provide. And as I mentioned up at the top, this was just one of many sessions that were hosted during this college exploration extravaganza. So be sure to check out the recordings of additional sessions at IACAC.org. And then in about a week, you'll be able to see this session's recording, so you can go back and remember all the fun facts that you learned, maybe share it with family members, parents, people that might be supporting you in your college search. And all of that will also be at IACAC.org. Thank you so much again for my presenters and for everyone that joined me. And I will end the meeting now. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.